Let's keep on marching for justice. Each step will wear away the stone. Oh, can you hear? And can you hear? We'll all be singing for joy. In peace and harmony. Yes, peace and harmony. Oh, can you hear? And can you hear? We'll all be singing for joy. In peace and harmony. Yes, peace and harmony. Oh, can you hear? And can you hear? We'll all be singing for joy. In peace and harmony. Yes, peace and harmony. Peace and harmony.
That was fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for being here and for joining us for this special reading to remember and celebrate the life of Doris Davenport. We gather on the anniversary of Doris's day of birth, January 29th, 1949, to read her words and to celebrate her. Shramona Mundal and I will moderate tonight's tribute. And as we begin, I want to acknowledge that we gather from many homelands. Here in San Francisco, I stand on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. We honor the sovereignty and the ongoing struggles of Indigenous women and peoples across this colonized Turtle Island and beyond. I invite each of you, if you wish, to share in the chat the land you are joining us from. Naming the places that hold us deepens our responsibility to those lands and reminds us that queer gathering is rooted in love and resistance to the societal terror enforced on our bodies and the lands which hold us. So feel free to place that in the chat. Okay. And now, I am going to begin this evening by reading Doris Davenport's own autobiographical sketch from her last book, Testimony, Poems, Proclamations, Potions. Doris wrote, pronouns, person, per. A visionary, working class, philosophical anarchist, 75-year-old, sapiosexual, lesbian, feminist, LGBTQ+, nation and alternate roots member, 20+ years. Writer, performance poet, educator, and independent scholar, born and raised in traditional Cherokee homelands, Euro-colonized Northeast Georgia. I have published 13 books of poetry, several available on Amazon and Kindle. I constantly, continually, adamantly work to end all forms of oppression towards truth and honesty, based on egalitarian, inclusive, and magical realities. Education, BA, Payne College, Augusta, Georgia, MA, SUNY Buffalo, New York, PhD, University of Southern California. I have taught literature and composition at numerous colleges and universities, published reviews, articles, essays, and books of poetry. I've been an Avon lady, a bartender, editor, a Kelly girl, and a librarian. I've done more than 120 poetry performances, collaborations, and workshops, and a dancer and a photographer. Doris was a beloved member of the Sinister Wisdom community. Julie Enzer, who is sad that she cannot join us this evening, notes that Doris always called or emailed her after the Sinister Wisdom issues arrived with notes on what she liked and thoughts on what should have been done differently, what she thought should have been done differently for each issue. When Sinister Wisdom began doing online events during the COVID-19 pandemic, Doris was a regular and an enthusiastic attendee at the events, and we loved to see her smiling, listening, chatting, and dancing. Doris's embrace of the Sinister Wisdom community was characteristic of how she moved in the world. She built community and reveled in a range of community formations. We all cherish that about her. For those joining us for the first time, Sinister Wisdom has been publishing since 1976. We are a collective effort, a labor of love, resistance, and intergenerational connection. Subscriptions and sustaining support allow us to continue archiving, distributing, and uplifting the breadth of lesbian and queer creativity. I encourage you to sign up for a subscription today by going to the Sinister Wisdom website subscribe, which I think you'll be able to see in the chat. A group of monthly sustainers is vital to Sinister Wisdom, and if you can give monthly, we so appreciate our sustainers and would love it if you signed up as a sustainer at the website. Sinister Wisdom sends out emails every month when your gift comes in with behind-the-scenes details and new information about what we have coming for the journal. And I will let you know, it's really fun to do that. So I hope you'll become a subscriber to Sinister Wisdom, and you can use the links that are in the chat. And you can also order from Karis Books and more. And that link will also be in the chat for the Karis Books. And we are also joined tonight by our friends at Karis Books, which is the South's oldest independent feminist bookstore and based in Decatur, Georgia, and Metro Atlanta area. And I would like at this time to invite E.R. Anderson to share a few words with us as we go on with our program. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. My name's ER, and I just, Juliet had asked me to come and just share just a quick moment about Doris. So we have been delighted to co-sponsor this entire series of the 50th birthday celebration with Sinister Wisdom. And I've really been thinking about Doris because she was so excited about Karis's 50th birthday, which was 2024. And in fact, she had bought a ticket to attend Karis's 50th birthday and was texting me like, ER, like, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I bought my hotel room. I'm just living in faith that I'm going to be there and I'm going to be dancing on the dance floor. I'm going to see you. And as you said, the COVID-19 pandemic really made a lot of our events more accessible to her as well. And so she would attend so many of our virtual events, similarly would give me a lot of feedback about what she enjoyed and what she did not care for in our events. And we became better friends because of that. And I really valued her feedback. And so I wanted to just quickly share one photo that I don't know if I can share real quick, a photo that we found in the archive of Doris. Can y'all see that? Okay. This is a photo of Doris in 1995 at Karis. She's pictured with BJ, who's a former Karis worker. And this was like right after Karis moved across the street from our original location in Little Five Points. And they were hanging out there, probably smoking cigarettes and just, shooting the breeze. And this is very much how I remember Doris. Was just like holding court. People would walk by. She would like holler at them, and talk to them and stuff. And so I just kind of wanted to leave y'all with this because literally this was like 3 months before her death, we found this photo and we sent it to her and we said, this is how we think of you. We're going to make a photocopy of this and have it at our birthday. And she said, I love this. This is who I am. Y'all have captured my spirit. So all that is to say, just right up until her death, she was attending Karis events. She was very much a part of our community, and we're very honored to be here tonight to help celebrate her. So thank you for including us, and thank you to everybody who is here to remember Doris. We really appreciate you.
So we will kick off tonight by reminding everyone of some housekeeping notes. We are recording the event this evening and we'll make it available starting tomorrow or Thursday at sinisterwisdom.org. Link will be in the chat as well. Only the speakers will be recorded tonight, so no worries there. Please keep your microphone muted throughout the program unless invited to speak. If we detect noise from you, we will mute you. As the program proceeds, you're invited to engage in the chat. If you want to show appreciation for the readers, wave your hands at the end of each reading like this. Or you can use the reaction emojis available on Zoom. If you need technical assistance this evening, you can chat with Max, who has been active in the chat already, and they are on tap for technical assistance tonight.
Thank you, Shimona. This evening, in addition to remembering the friend, sister, comrade that Doris was, we also want to focus on her poetry. Doris was a poet of extraordinary passion and humor. Throughout her life, she consistently produced poetry that delights and enlightens, poetry that entertains and challenges. Doris deserves consideration, in particular, as a crucial voice in feminist and African American poetry from the 1980s and 1990s. Her work is ripe to revisit and reappraise. An Affrilachian poet working before Frank X. Walker coined the word, an early performance spoken word poet before the spoken word movement became popular, an early lesbian and feminist, Doris exemplifies multiple poetic communities. Contemporary poets like Patricia Smith, Sapphire, Stacey Ann Chin, R. Erica Doyle, and Alexis Pauline Gumbs are heirs to Doris Davenport and her early groundbreaking work. For example, the last poem, 11/22/80, especially for Aisha, from her early chapbook, It's Like This, demonstrates Davenport's intellectual stakes, situating her squarely within feminist and African American intellectual traditions. She writes, Janie had a tea cake. Langston had a simple and a Harlem. And I got you. And I got you. We all got to pay dues and taxes. Black folk got to be free. Women got to be liberated. We will hear more of Doris's poetry tonight. Doris died on December 2nd, 2024, after a relatively short but aggressive struggle with a diseased liver. This evening, a handful of people will read from Doris's work and share remembrances of her as a friend, mentor, sister, poet, and community member. Always at Sinister Wisdom, we encourage people to honor the ancestors by reading and sharing the work that they left behind. It is the same with Doris.
Thank you, Eva. Just as Doris's work was forged in community, in risk, and in care, we gather in her spirit in collective attention to her still urgent words. First, we'd like to welcome Mary Ann Adams, founder of Zami Nobla, the National Organization of Black Lesbians of Aging, established in 2011. As a Black lesbian feminist activist, social worker, public health researcher, and community organizer based in Atlanta, Georgia, Adams has shared many memories and kinship with Doris over the years. Her career spanning 25 years with a praxis that centers LGBTQ advocacy, aging Black women's health, and is grounded in dismantling racial, gender, and sexual health inequalities. We are delighted to hear Adams read Doris's work.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here to celebrate Dara. She would be tickled to death. She would absolutely love this. And so I began. Here it is, my dear beloved Marianne. How are you today? What kind of fun are you having? Are you still taking a bus tomorrow? I wish I could be there. Then, when this revelation started, I knew I could not. This piece started as a poem, then it turned into a manifesto, confession, plea for acknowledgement, help, support. And as I am not good at asking for help, and as I don't even know that what that is, I'm asking, then too, I am angry at faith, at this situation too. Since you asked to read this, I'm sending it. Thank you for the interest, even if it isn't possibly what you may have thought laughing out loud. Never know what you're getting into, huh? Peace and love, Doris. Title: You go tell Alice Walker I said happy birthday for me because I cannot come in person to her birthday bash in her hometown, Edenton, this weekend. Looking for a reference for a Pat Parker essay on sexuality in her poetry, I found a vintage one on Alice's Color Purple and smiled and moved on and froze. It's this weekend. I want so badly to, but I cannot go. Yet I feel like I should be there, need to be there. If I could celebrate Alice in the context of a women's world of writers like in the 1970s and 80s, or rather, I wish I could celebrate her work and her life in a surrounding like that. I could tell her how much since the late 60s all her writing means to me, especially Grange Copeland. I would want her to know that although I first read Zora Their Eyes in 71, that I, like the whole world, am infinitely grateful to her for that work as I am to Valerie Board for her work. You tell Alice, but I cannot be there. It's just another anonymous accolade, one in that sweaty or excessively air conditioned and mostly white, possibly, and mostly het, no doubt, crowded public display. I have been so distant publicly from my life as a writer, as an activist, as a lesbian feminist writer activist. I am crying as I write this. I once called Alice to ask her to be on a panel. She said yes. Then a more urgent event intervened. That was in Los Angeles in the early 80s for NWSA. I longed for the energies, communities, political activisms of that era. I miss us. I long for us so much. A world of women, a context of socially active, aware, and seriously committed lesbian feminists. I wish she could remember me, but why should she? Why would she? I met Jean Wessinger before that, and Jean and I are still in touch. But I cannot see Alice Walker that weekend because I cannot trust me to not beg her to help me. I am impoverished. I am unemployed, but I'd rather be teaching, writing for pay. I am here in Cleveland, Georgia, because it is my literal and spiritual home. And where, on one level, I have always wanted to live to be, I have tried, but I cannot buy a house here in my Northeast Georgia mountains. I live in the senior citizens projects. I am mostly isolated, alone, and unengaged. All the opposite of what I could, what, of what I would have. I feel often too close to repeating the end of Zora's life, obscure, relatively unknown, dead. I am truly and regrettably a real sister outsider. I just self-published my 12th book of poetry to celebrate my 70th birthday in January, and for a performance on July 28th. And very few folk will read this book or attend the performance, as with the preceding 11. I am so very ashamed of being in this situation. 50 pounds overweight due to stress, too, and ashamed of being ashamed. I don't clearly know how I got here, or rather, I know, but not how to not be here. I keep trying. I truly feel like no one cares, except maybe two, or is possibly glad about it. So I tell no one except this here. And here, no doubt, the time is really atrocious. But when is the time right for such as this? I wanted to be at Alice's birthday celebration, and I can't be. And I feel like I ought to, should be there. I don't trust me not to scream at Alice, help, just a little bit, a suggestion. And I don't want to do that. How many thousands of people all her life have come to her begging, deserving or not? No, no. And how tacky at her birthday celebration. I have been jealous in a good way of folk who have had close contact with Alice, even those who took literature classes from her. I have longed for contact, friendship with many of the writers whose work I admire, adore, respect. I see me as their peer, only I ain't. Well, I am an excellent writer and performance poet. There is that. I have no following, no posse, no colleague to share writing with. I have made singularly strange choices, it seems. And as I fit in no one's party line or criteria, I mostly am overlooked, ignored deliberately, especially if I say anything that goes against their self delusions. And I always almost do so. So there's that. I can't be there this weekend to celebrate my beloved Alice Walker. I can't afford it, don't have the money, can't afford the emotional distress. I'm still not over that Facebook fundraiser when I almost got evicted last September, but I intend to get over it to survive and thrive. I constantly celebrate Alice's work, her life, her being. You tell Alice that, tell her that, and that I wish her the most blissful, blessed, belated birthday ever. You tell Alice I said happy birthday and tell Valerie and let me know that you did, please. And for now, that must suffice. That must be enough from me. Thank you. Doris Davenport, July 12, 2019. Thank you.
That was beautiful. And that was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Next is Doris's baby sister, Audrey Davenport, honoring her sister's legacy.
Thank you. I'm sharing my screen. Just give me 1 minute. I'll share my screen. Share this and presenting. Okay. So reading, actually, I was going to read from Doris's book, Sequoia Street Poems, and I thought since I have my sister reading that poem for me for an occasion that happened in the beginning of 2024, I thought she would be best to read it. And so Sequoia Street is the street that we grew up on, and the title of her book. Just recent, this is Sequoia Street. My sister had a local artist come and do some illustrations based on her stories and some photographs that she put together. This house over here is 103 Sequoia Street, where our grandparents lived, where I now live, gratefully living in that house. I wrote a grant for the city last summer for a project that will honor this historically Black neighborhood. And my sister is the visionary and inspiration for that project. This actually was part of the application that I sent to the Georgia Council for the Arts. And this is 103 Sequoia Street and some things that are noted in her poem. This is a small Black community that is the 5,000 people in this town and 500 Black people I think it was maybe less than that when we grew up, when I was younger. And I will let my sister read her poem.
In our communities in these hills, we actually were connected, related to each other in all kinds of ways. And as I wrote this book, I realized that I wanted everybody in the book, or I wanted to somehow include or represent or symbolize or name. And I realized that was such a huge project, I probably could never do it. And then I decided to try to do it. Foot bone connected to the ankle bone connected to the leg bone. That song we used to love to sing and act out in school and at church, of course. Connect these bones, these dry bones. Foot bone connected to the ankle bone connected to the leg bone connected to the thigh bone, to the hip bone. Back up, somebody saying, ready to get an attitude, ready to ask, well, which one of these bones you calling me? Which one? Cause I ain't gonna be nobody's backbone like that. Somebody already decided which one of the bones she won't be, and ain't even got no say in it. Connected these bones by blood mixed and remixed, by kin close and kissing, bound and connected. The Williams connected to the Crows, connected to the Perrys, connected to the Tuts, connected. Williams connected to the Banks, connected to the Pettijohns, to the Mosses, to the Willinghams, connected to the Scotts, Smiths, Dooleys, Fortsons, Miss I own the Westes, Davises, Gibsons, connected to the Gopers, Ruckers, Tremures, Maddoxes, connected to the Kings, Andersons, Pruitts, Coles, Dorses, Griffins, Wilmots, Martins, Miss Sally connected. Dovers. We all connected to Miss Sally. Connected to the Hamiltons, Mr. Jim Smith one time, the Millers, the Stricklands, the Harrises, and Miss Texas she connected to, and Miss Anna, the Herds, the Primers, the Niceleys, the Cooks, and most of us kin to Miss Cook and Miss Franklin and Miss Phillips, Browns, and the rest of our teachers. And Mother Gracie Gibson Banks, Miss Sosby, Harry June Fortson, Mr. John Pettijohn, Mr. Sam Pettijohn, Will, Katie, Elvira, and John Gibson. Will, Katie, Elvira, and John Gibson connected by blood, by kin.
Thank you. So that poem speaks to the project that I'm working on, and it is based on stories and poems becoming a landmark design. So I'm designing 12 panels that are 4x10 that will hang on the Jim Smith Park that my sister mentioned. It's in the neighborhood just up the block from this house. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was really beautiful, and I'm really lucky to have been able to hear that from you and hear that from Doris herself. Next, we have Doris's beloved nephew Judson Matos, reading from Eat Thunder and Drink Rain from page 85, poem Certain Sounds in Time.
Hi. Well, I'm just going to read first, and then I guess I'm going to talk later. Just a quick thing. This is Eat Thunder, Drink Rain. My amazing family had all sorts of hands in this. My aunt, my other aunt, my aunt Audrey, my aunt Doris, and my mom, actually, Maggie, had all sorts of hands in this. But I'm going to read first. This is Certain Sounds in Time. I lived in a small town, listening to hear what they listened to. I left a small town, carrying a sound, clear dots of infinity, swirling in space, a sound, clear and blue, translucent. I followed a sound of orange in fall, changed to red, and a sound of thunder when Nina sang. The red shimmered, and I heard a minute the blue. I live now in the sound, a sound of purple, a time of now and then and soon. The sound of purple will be the sound of all time, emptied of dust and trash, the sound in time of air to ride, to surrender, to fly on into. The middle of that prism which is not clear, but purple, soft, golden, royal, loud, sweet, singing, ethereal, eternal. The only sound in time will be the sound of purple. The only sound I'm certain is purple. Um, I've never read one of Doris's poems out loud before a couple days ago. I am so grateful to have had this amazing, wonderful aunt. I think about her every day. I see all of her stuff every day. That's actually her dulcimer that I was given. But so I chose Eat Thunder and Drink Rain because it's the earliest book I have. I have copies of pretty much every other book. And I also felt it would be self-serving to choose other poems that may have featured me, but I don't go a day without thinking of my aunt. She means the world to me still. She is one of the people I connect to the most. And I wanted to thank everybody for coming together and sharing their memories and pictures. Oh my goodness, the pictures that I see of my Aunt Doris from a time before I ever knew her, just it's wild. It's great. It's thank you. Thank you for everybody who put this together, for letting me be a part of this, for coming together and being together like this around my aunt's work means the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Jetson. It was an honor to have you here and be part of this. Next, we'll hear from current Sinister Wisdom event scribe Mel Oliver reading a poem to honor Doris and celebrate Burr love for us women.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be asked to read tonight, especially as Doris's work meets me and moves me by writing rural blackness and magical queerness into knowing and vision. I cherish her insistence on Black people as rural folk, as country people, and beings in intimate relation to the land. An orientation so often erased from narratives and collective memory of Black visuality. Doris's way of seeing feels like an ancestral astrology, and I'm grateful to read some of her words for you tonight. I'm going to start with Renita Juanita Maria Teresa Jones from her chapbook. It's like this. Renita Juanita Maria Teresa Jones, because she wants to dance with everyone, she has to dance alone. Always late getting somewhere, but years ahead of her time. Always behind the times, years ahead of mine. California was the place to be 10 years ago. Everyone who was coming came and left. Here she is, 10 years later. Even earthquakes don't come here anymore. Outcast from reality. What else does she have but fantasy? Her entire life is an extended, ironic statement. Her sense of humor is so intact. And I would like to also finish with a shorter poem from the same chapbook called The Abolitionist, 9979. I want to free your minds from centuries of slime, disenfranchisement, and semen, from seeing yourselves as others do, free you from the prisons of the penis people. I want to loosen the chains of pettiness, pretense, and distorted perceptions. I need to see you free, see you running, thinking, flying, being, so I will have some company. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mel. That was really beautiful, and thank you for sharing how you feel, honoring her words and bringing them into the room. Now we turn to a video that comrade and sister Sherry Moraga recorded for tonight's tribute, sharing with us memories, stories, and autohistorias, as Anzaldúa would describe, or as we would know, as the act of self-writing, one's history into the collective, personal, cultural, and racial history, which Doris reveled in doing with strength and fortaleza. Moraga will read an excerpt from the essay "The Pathology of Racism" from This Bridge Called My Back.
And I'm Shirley Moraga, and I'm here to celebrate with you, Doris Davenport. What can I say about her? I think she is one of the most fuerte people I've ever met. In Spanish, fuerte means strong. It just means also just full, and anyway, I have a lot of respect for her as a poet and writer and thinker, and the way she has responded to such really diverse communities of people. And she has this essay, "The Pathology of Racism," which to me was one of the most radical pieces in Bridge. And when Gloria Anzaldúa and I selected it, we were going, "Whoa, this is again fuerte." And so I want to read from it, just the very end, which is really for us as women of color. It's interesting because this section is, really is a critique of white women's racism from, varying perspectives. With, Christo's writing, "I don't understand those who have turned away from me," and that great line from Joe Carrillo, "And when you leave, take your pictures with you," that women of color are not as, I guess, exotic in real life as we appear on your walls. This piece "The Pathology of Racism" by Doris Davenport was really, I think, really kind of the most confrontative piece that we had in here about white women. And the book is not about white women, which we were glad to see, that it was really about women of color and our relations with each other, and also what we suffered together and celebrated together. And in a certain level, what this piece does is it acknowledges what we have shared in terms of our experiences with all our different shades, experiences of, the prejudices and racism of, for the most part, middle class, upper middle class white women in the early days of the women's movement. Not that it's gone away now, but it feels there is change, I would like to believe. Anyway, so this is the ending part of the essay. So, sisters, we might as well give up on them, except in rare and individual cases where the person or group is deliberately and obviously more evolved mentally and spiritually. This is unracist. We should stop wasting our time and energy until these women evolve. Meanwhile, we can rechannel our energies toward ourselves. We can start to develop a feminist movement based on the realities and priorities of third world women. Racism would have to be a priority. Misogyny is another major problem with third world feminism. Remember, this is written in 1980. But only that, many of our communities are more homophobic or lesbophobic than white ones. Also, a lot of our sisters are straight and have no intention of changing. We cannot afford to ignore them and their needs, nor the needs of many third world women who are both feminists and nationalists, that is, concerned with our sex and also our race. We have yet to make our own realities known to ourselves or anyone else. So we really do have a lot more to concentrate on besides the pathology of white women. What we need to do is deal with us first. Then maybe we can develop a women's movement that is more international in scope and universal in application. It is time we stopped letting the rest of this oppressive society dictate our behavior, devour our energies, and control us body and soul. It is time we dealt with our own energies and our own revolutionary potential, like the constructive and powerful forces that are ours. When we do act on our power and potential, there will be a real feminist movement in this country, one that will finally include all women. So I thank Sister Doris for that, and I thank you all for gathering in her honor, and also Sinister Wisdom for being the container for this. It's really beautiful what the magazine that has such a long history has done for women of all of our ethnicities and races. So, felicidades, Doris, and may your spirit just be really, really contenta.
Amazing. Next, we have Dr. Ra Malika Imhotep, who is a Black feminist writer, performance artist, and scholar from Atlanta, Georgia, whose work explores the intersections of queer embodiment, Southern vernacular culture, and Black femininity. They are the author of the poetry collection Gossipin', released by Red Hen Press in 2022, and the forthcoming academic monograph, The Tar Baby Principle, Embracing the Black Trickster Feminine. In addition to being a professor of global African diaspora studies at Spelman College, they are a co-convener of the Church of Black Feminist Thought, as well as a member of the Black Aesthetic Collective. Ra, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, family. I'm so honored to be here. And a little grief moves in waves. And when the program started, I was like, oof, cried a little. And I'm just really grateful to be here, and I'm grateful for Mama D. I initially thought I was going to read from testimony, but I found images of a poem from Voodoo Child, which was published in 1991. And I feel like that's what wants to be read. And I'm also noticing that it was written in December of 1987. And I was recently writing about the year 1987 because it was such a potent year for Black feminist publication. Beloved was written in 1987, Octavia Butler's Dawn, essays by Hortense Spillers and Barbara Christian. And I feel so warmed to know that, of course, right, our dear Doris was also writing in that moment. So this is Ms. Marie Laveau's rap song, 9991. In the spirit of Francis E.W. Harper and Ida B. Wells, in the tradition of poems by Nikki Giovanni, Lucille Clifton, Maya Angelou, Mari Evans, in the words of the mother. I had no role models except my own self in prior reincarnations. The mystic me could see myself in the future. Futuristically speaking, I am history. I keep the company of very few. I keep the love of all I can stand beyond a few hours of my time. I have the understanding of none. My own mind intrigues me. By my own flesh, I am self-seduced, conjured, hexed, fixed, and satisfied. You exist by my consent. I duplicate myself by loving myself. Through my will, my power regenerates sons. I am the original freedom, the first and the last, the seventh daughter of my seventh self, born at 7 a.m. Eastern. I am religion, your faith, truth, hope, your God. I created, and I lie when I feel like it. I have very few faults. I am seldom wrong, and when I am, it's deliberate. I have no peer. I am, essentially, perfect. I, yes, I am. I am. I am. Whew. And that's Mama D, you know. And I remember reading that poem. I was introduced to Mama D through my father, who went to Payne College with her, and they also, existed in Georgia and Atlanta as poets at the same time, were members of alternate roots at the same time. In fact, somewhere in my house, I have a letter my dad wrote to Doris back in the day. But I say all that to say, he said to me, she's a colleague of mine, but a peer of yours, by which he meant that while they were peers and age mates, she and I shared something, and that something was being gay and being poets and probably mad women. And I really loved and adore that Mad Mountain woman, and I'm learning from her every day. And I'm so honored to be in continued relation with Mama D, with the Davenports, and yeah, I often feel or felt like I was like doing something new or saying something unique. And when I open Mama D's books, like literally my words are often staring me in the face. So I just feel really blessed by her mentorship, her friendship, her antagonism, and her ancestral accompaniment. So thank you all so much for listening and loving her too.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Malika. That was beautiful, and your words were beautiful as well. I enjoyed that very much. Thank you. Um, our final guest this evening, who embodies this conversation by shaping generations of readers and thinkers, myself included. Cheryl, it is both an honor and a deep joy to have you with us. Cheryl Clark, poet, scholar, activist, board member of Sinister Wisdom, and one of the foremost figures of Black lesbian feminist literature, and a longtime friend and collaborator in this ongoing work of lesbian feminist publishing. Cheryl Clark is the author of 5 books of poetry, including By My Precise Haircut and Living as a Lesbian, as well as the critical work After Mecca, Women Poets and the Black Arts Movement. Her writing, organizing, and teaching have situated lesbian identity and Black feminist thought as central to the American literary and political landscape. Cheryl, we are so thrilled to have you with us. Could you begin by sharing a bit about the culture Doris spoke to and what it was like to be in community with her?
Well, thank you for that introduction, Eva. Uh, I met Doris. Can people hear me? Because I had trouble. We had a foot of snow up here and it was hard getting into the internet, and I had to use my phone. So I apologize for being late. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this tribute to Doris, who was quite a person. We first met in the 1980s, but we knew each other's work from this bridge called My Back. And Doris's controversial article, The Pathology of Racism, which was quite an interesting article. And I was going to read from it, but Cherie Moraga read the exact same passage I would have read, so I won't bother to read it. She read it. Thank you, Cherie. So I'll just begin with the poems I'm going to read from Eat Thunder and Drink Rain. This poem is called Part 2. Genius is deformity in a world where stupidity is perfection. Ugliness, too, is in the eye of the beholder, especially if it's belonging to especially if it's beholding a mirror. While liars rule the world, truth is treasonous. I'll read that over. Part 2. Genius is deformity in a world where stupidity is perfection. Ugliness, too, is in the eye of the beholder, especially if it's beholding a mirror. While liars rule the world, truth is treasonous. To the majority from a minority. I did not come by faith, but if you must know, I came by any means I could and any means necessary. I came by bus, by master charge, by crying and carrying on. I came by leaning on Mama, who leaned on the Lord, who leaned on Southern comfort. I came in crowds, in secret code, in raging and wrath. Sometimes I came barely and alone. Now it ain't your business how I came, and I can't stand nosy people. But this is your business. I am not going back, so here I am. But what I am ain't your business. Doris had a good sense of humor, a very good sense of humor. For Ed Janetta, I go outside to insult every day. Eyes insulted by ugliness, body insulted by lechery, mind insulted by stupidity. Insult assaults me until I'm back inside again. Outside is such madness. It makes me seem sane by comparison. So much mad. I've run from it to my memories inside my apartment and my head. I'm free because that is all there is. The living memory of summer, trees eaten alive, still sway in a breeze of soft laughter from a porch full of Budweiser cans, and people touch me gently, but stronger than this hostility, these memories. Even your smile so enigmatic, warm and inviting, cool and intact. It seems odd that I should miss you and call each day, almost. It's because I go outside each day, and I do go off every other day, but I come back inside each time to a memory. I come always to the peace in you. You save me constantly from the streets in Buffalo, from me in New Haven, from Los Angeles. You do not know, or rather, you know, and don't always say that much about things, like seeing through people. You surface talk and hug, create a medium of temporary meeting, and appear to be present, but really ain't. Appear to be absent, yet really are here. Seeing a suicide long distance, where most folk saw only a smile. How'd you know? Seeing what I need, from sardines to madmen. You negate suicide with a special brand of love. And it is your birthday, but is also my rebirth because you were born, that is. I am still alive to celebrate you and always return, always come back inside to you. One last poem. Excuse me. Mercy, mercy me. Things aren't what they used to be. For Jeannie, you are pregnant and far away. I have grown up. Nothing like it used to be. Excuse me. Nothing is like it used to be. The weeping willow trees wept and died. The streams ran dry. Mercy, mercy. The field we played ball in shrinks each day since we don't play no more. My school's closed. Your town was phased out. This is not about ecology. I'm talking about you and me and what they did with my life and what it did to you. No cheap wine, nobody to go see, no corners to hang out on, nobody to hang out there. Mercy, mercy. No way to get back there, no way to get into here. Mercy. It makes us all holler. It makes us scream and sleep with the lights on. If I thought nobody would tell or that it might do some good, I might pray. But nothing's what it used to be, and there is no mercy. Nothing's like it used to be, least of all you and me. I can't find you now, only feel you vaguely, but I can't be sure it's you because nothing's like it used to be, especially not you or me. Thank you.
Cheryl. Oh, thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that reading and sharing Doris's those poems. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Cheryl.
You're
Um,
welcome.
we wanted, as we come toward the end of our celebration, we wanted to include this evening by reading Doris's poem, and I'll be reading this one to you. Vision 1, Genesis for Women of Color. This is one of Doris Davenport's iconic poems that deserves a wider audience and great circulation. Vision 1, Genesis for Women of Color. 1. White boys run America. Black boys run, period. White girls run the women's movement, and everyone runs over and from black women. Listen, they said, your place is not here. They said, you have no place. They are wrong. Listen. 2. In the beginning was the goddess who chose not to speak at that time, knowing her words would be plagiarized, resented, misrepresented, denied. In the beginning was the goddess. She chose not to speak, but to do. Practicing and drinking wine, she made men. Alone to women, she gave the powers, 2 heads. To us, she gave the sign, the moon. Alone to us, her divine power, life. For us, she created the earth and all upon it, and then sat down and waited for us to make it good. But we blew it. Words were invented and abused. But when women started to speak, the goddess stood up. We spoke too slow, and she shook her head. She waits, omnipotent but wordless. She waits, knowing we are the word. 3. Listen. Thank you to everyone for this celebration this evening. And before we conclude, I want to remind you of 2 upcoming events with Sinister Wisdom, the Sinister Wisdom Book Club. Oh, yes, which I will be moderating. And please look on the website. It's coming up probably in a week. We're reading Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. Seems like the right time to do. And the Salsa Soul Sister discussion, which is also coming up very soon next week. Before our final song, we will end with a short video of Doris speaking at a Sinister Wisdom event on Black lesbian publishing. And her family wrote in the obituary, Dr. Doris Davenport shared freely of her vast experience, artistry, knowledge, and skills. In addition to her family, she leaves a vast network of spirit daughters, sister friends, and colleagues who will always cherish her time on this earth. As per Doris's wishes, her remains were scattered, quote, in traditional Cherokee homelands, Euro-colonized northeast Georgia, on Tower, Chinofsita Mountain, and Mount Yonah. Thank you, Doris, for many gifts to our world. We remember and honor you. That's awesome.
Sorry. 1 second.
Okay, we will have the video in a moment, but I hope you all enjoyed that. That poem is an awesome, awesome poem. Read it widely, read it often, keep reading it. It's fun to read and to listen to, so. And maybe I should just let you know a little bit as we're waiting for the video to come up. You can find the full video of Doris speaking on Black lesbian feminist publishing in the 1970s and 80s on Sinister Wisdom's YouTube channel, which hopefully a link will come up in the chat. And yes, that will be great. I think we'll listen now.
But in the introduction to the republished book, what I include is all the activity that we had going on at that time. And I have in testimony a short statement about 40 years of self-publishing. And I just want to read this. At that time, there were limited options for us, lesbian feminists, non-traditional, alternative, socio-cultural, literary activists. We created our own magazines, broadsides, journals, publishing companies. Y'all remember that?
and hybrids from typed mimeographs. You could still smell the purple ink, double-sided pages, poems to beautifully handcrafted poems. I cherish that deliciously powerful time when we invented possibilities, including a self-published guidebook to women's self-publishing. I included some of that history in the 2013 introduction to my first reissued first. My daughter Robin, like I said, talk your talk, Mama D. So, and therefore, afterwards, the joy though of self-publishing when I had my book with my photo on the cover. Like I took that book up here in my sacred land of the Cherokee homelands. Ultimately, the joy and satisfaction of doing my book my way.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And as we end this evening, our final song is going to be Sugarcane by Les Nubians. Thank you all for coming and celebrating the life of Doris, the life and work of Doris Davenport today. It's been wonderful and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.